Number 1, what is your name, please?
My name is Vicki McCarty.
Number 2.
My name is Vicki McCarty.
And number 3.
My name is Vicki McCarty.
Only one of these people is the real Vicki McCarty and has sworn to tell the truth. And now from Studio 6A in New York's Rockefeller Center, let's meet our panel. TV's Robert Frost, only cooler, poet, comedian Nipsey Russell. Starring with Robert Mitchum in the TV miniseries The Wings of War, Holly Bergen. Emmy Award-winning host of Pittsburgh Today, John Wade. And the queen of TV's question and answer games, Kitty Carlisle. And here's the host of To Tell the Truth, Robin White.
Oh, thank you. You sound great. Nice to see you. Welcome to Tell the Truth panel. You're looking marvelous as always. How are you today? How are things in Pittsburgh, John?
Oh, they're very
they
good.
well?
You know, it's the city of champions. And
I know,
we're
and
doing
you're
fine.
a champ, of course.
Well, thank you. Yes, not for the Pirates or the Steelers, but Pittsburgh is truly the underrated city of the country. It's a beautiful city, lovely people.
Well, it is a lovely city, and nice to have you on the show today. And
Well, it's
shall
good
we
to
play our game, or shall we just kind of chat for the rest
No,
of the show?
no, let's chat.
Okay, let's play. Let's play. Let's get right down to the problem presented by our first team of challengers, each of whom claims to be Vicki McCarty. And would you join me as I read this affidavit? I, Vicki McCarty, was a nude centerfold in Playboy magazine. While I didn't possess different dimensions from other centerfolds, I did possess different credentials. Not only had I graduated from college summa cum laude, I earned a Phi Beta Kappa key as well. I also possess a law degree and have completed a year's postgraduate work at Cambridge University in England. I was pretty sure that the stodgy dons at Cambridge wouldn't comment on my centerfold appearance. After all, if they did, they'd have to admit they looked at the magazine. Signed, Vicki McCarty. And welcome. It's good to have you on To Tell the Truth. And panel, these three ladies all claim to be a lawyer and former centerfold model Vicki McCarty. And let's start the questioning with who else? John Wade.
Oh, thank you. We could talk for hours. Number 3, how did this come to be? Who asked you to do it, or did you apply, or what happened?
Well, I went to Los Angeles on a summer vacation. I was going to school in Texas, and they were having a search for the 25th anniversary centerfold, and I applied in that way.
Okay, number 2, what was the most embarrassing aspect, or was it embarrassing at all?
Yes, it was embarrassing.
Tell me about it.
The most embarrassing aspect is the obvious one of taking off your clothes.
Had you done that before?
No,
Never?
never.
Just went around
well,
clothed
except
your
in my
whole...
shower.
Okay, well, you never before a photographer before?
No, that's a regulation.
Okay, now pardon?
It's a regulation that you couldn't have.
And we go to Kitty.
Oh, well, number 1, did you wear anything? I haven't seen the centerfold in a long time.
They look a lot alike, but...
Did you wear anything at all?
There is lingerie on, yes. The basic aspects are uncovered, but you are wearing other articles of clothing.
Oh, but not in any of the important spots.
Exactly.
The important spots are naked, and the other, where do you wear? You do it in the middle, like so?
I
Or
had
over
on
your
a,
head?
I had on a scarf and some
I
other-
see. Number 2, where did you get your law degree?
Hastings in San Francisco.
And number 3, where did you get your Phi Beta Kappa key?
University of Texas.
And number 1, what did they pay you?
$10,000.
And have you gotten any other benefits from it, except a cold?
I have made public appearances and an awful lot of fan mail.
Number 2, why'd you do it?
And we go to Nipsey.
Number 3, what's the difference between magna cum laude and summa cum laude?
Well, the summa cum laude is a honorary degree, and it has to do with having a 3.8 average.
Okay, number 1, what's the law term quid pro quo mean?
Quid pro quo? I'm sorry, my area of law, I'm not
Number
using
2,
that term.
what's meant by habeas corpus?
It is something, it's a release, freeing a person from jail.
I see. Number 3, you have a Phi Beta Kappa key. Now, is that a Greek letter organization like other fraternities or sororities?
Well, it's a special, honorary Key given with a special secret handshake.
And we go to Polly Bergen.
Number one, where was the centerfold photographed?
The centerfold itself was photographed in Los Angeles. However, I was on location in England when they took most of the other photographs.
I see. Number two, who photographed you?
A man named Arnie Freitag.
Number three, who photographed you?
A man named Arnie Freitag.
Number one, where is Christy Hefner located?
Christy Hefner is in Los Angeles.
And number two, where is Hefner's mansion in Los Angeles?
Holmby Hills.
Number three, where is Christy Hefner located?
Chicago.
Number one, why did you do it?
I needed money for my education, and it was a very good opportunity.
Number two, were you paid the same amount of money as number one?
$10,000.
$10,000. And why did you do it?
The bells are ringing, and that means, panel, that this discussion must come to an end, and you must now make a decision and vote for number one, or for number two, or for number three. John, who got your vote?
I'm not even close yet.
Hurry up.
Okay, well, one remark I want to make. Normally, the producers here at Goods and Time will bring people on dressed as their occupation. You know, and I really resent that they'll make an exception in this case.
I'm sure.
I really resent it. But I voted for number two. I just really like dark-haired, attractive. I don't know.
We can't pursue this particular line of thought,
I would
John.
like to,
We
though.
know what you like. Kitty, who got your vote?
Well, by process of elimination, I couldn't vote for number three because she didn't know the difference between summa and magna cum laude. Number one didn't know one of those Latin phrases of... but number two knew that habeas corpus is free the body, produce the body. So I voted for
number two. And Nipsey, who got your vote?
Well, if I were ever in a felony case, I'd like to be defended by number one, but I voted for number two.
And Polly, who got your vote?
Well, it looks like we all went the same way. Number two, number one didn't know where Christy Hefner is located. Number three did.
The votes are all in, and now we're going to find out whether you're all right or you're all completely washed out, panel. And we're going to find out which of these ladies is our Cantabrigian centerfold. Will the real Vicki McCarty please stand up? Yes, you're right. Good. Before we talk to Vicki about her career in and out of the law and in and out of her clothes, let's find out who our imposters are. Number one, could you tell us, please, who you are and what you really do?
My name is Terry Ross, and I'm an aerobic dance instructor at the 92nd Street Y here in New York.
Oh, very good.
And number three, could you tell us about yourself, please?
My name is Kathy Betancourt, and I lease automobiles for Barco Auto Leasing in Manhasset, Long Island.
It's good to have you here. Now, Vicki, it said in the affidavit that you're pretty sure that the dons at Cambridge don't read Playboy. What would happen if the dons, in their ceaseless intellectual pursuit, reading the interview, would suddenly stumble across your centerfold? Do you think that would diminish your credibility as a serious scholar at Cambridge?
Well, I got my degree and left, so I don't really care.
You know, there were actually no incorrect votes, therefore you've won no money, but it's been a great pleasure having you on the
Mark
show,
will be
and
so
maybe
happy.
two of you can come back and redeem yourselves on one-on-one. Thanks for joining us. We're coming back, so stay tuned. Come back and let's meet our next team of challengers.
Number one, what is your name, please?
My name is David Ballman.
Number two.
My name is David Ballman.
And number three.
My name is David Ballman.
All right, panel, if you'd mind joining me as I read this affidavit. I, David Ballman, am Executive Vice President of Big Brothers and Big Sisters of America. This organization matches youngsters, many of them from single-parent homes, with sympathetic adult volunteers who will befriend them and serve as confidants and role models. There are some 8 million children between 6 and 18 who come from broken homes. Without some kind of outside guidance, they are 4 times as likely as other kids to drop out of school, and 6 times as likely to end up before a judge. Being a big brother or sister takes only 4 to 6 hours a week, but even such a short time can do a world of good. I know because I was once a little brother myself. And as an adult, I've shared my home with 26 special children, 7 of whom I have legally adopted. Signed, David Ballman. And welcome, gentlemen. It's good to have you on the show. And panel, these 3 gentlemen all claim to be a very big brother, David Ballman. Let's start the questioning with Kitty Carlisle.
Thank you. Congratulations, whoever you are. It sounds absolutely marvelous. Number one, are you sharing your home with 7 children all at once, or have they kind of moved on?
No, there are only 7 there now.
And number 2, is that very expensive to maintain 7 children?
Have you ever tried supporting
I only
7
had
children?
2. It was expensive, yes.
Yes, it is expensive.
Number 3, where do you live?
I live in Philadelphia.
And does Pennsylvania give you any help
No.
for supporting these children?
No.
Number 2, where do you live?
In Pennsylvania.
And
No.
you don't get any help either?
No. Formerly, we just moved to Pennsylvania, but formerly I did receive help when I lived before I moved to Pennsylvania.
I see. And number 1, how does one make contact with the children? Do you match up the people with the children that you become a big sister or a big brother to? How does that work?
No, there's a caseworker that's assigned, and they make the matches.
I see. Number 2 is...
Let me go down the line to Nipsey.
Number 2, could a celebrity very well function as a big brother?
You would be the best big brother. Can you imagine what a thrill your little brother would have if you were a big brother?
Oh, yeah? Number 3, are these boys generally from homes in which there is no male influence? Are they from fatherless homes or broken?
That's the general situation, although we have some from other kinds of situations, for example, incapacitation or something like that.
I see. Now, number 1, is it a special day in which this activity is pursued? Are you a big brother like only on Saturdays? Or?
No, one day a week, whenever the boy or girl needs you.
I see. Sticking with number 1, would you need any kind of training, or is it just giving the friendship
Just
and whatever
be a friend. Just be a friend.
And we go to Polly.
Number 2, now this is not like because I noticed Kitty asked about getting financial aid. This is not like a foster home situation, is it?
Are you talking about my own situation or the Big Brother program?
The Big Brother program.
Oh, no, it's a national organization. We have 415 agencies around the country. Each agency is autonomous unto itself. But you're asking now, it's not, well, some of the funding does come from government sources, but some of the funding also comes from the agency itself.
Well, number 3, do some families pay a big brother or a big sister to spend time with the child?
No, the volunteer is a big brother or big sister.
I see. Number 1, what are some of the activities that a big brother or big sister would be involved in?
Well, perhaps hiking, take the boy fishing, whatever it might be the child would like.
And we go to John Wade.
All right, number 3, have the big brothers and big sisters always been affiliated?
I don't know what you mean by that. In terms of...
Number 2, do you know what I mean there?
Yes, they've been affiliated since 1977.
Do you agree with that, number 1, or have they been separate at one time?
I agree with number 2 here.
Okay, fine. Are there any, sticking with number 1, what are the age limits for the children? Any ages? Tiny children are on up to what age? Number 1?
Oh, 6 to 18.
6 to 18. You agree with that, number 2?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, number 3, how do they check out your background, or do they?
They do go through credentials checks, and you have to have references, 3 references, and there's a screening process. In some instances, they also will check police records.
Okay, do they take, they don't mind sticking with number 3 if you're single or married, are those qualifications? No. Okay, number 2, how?
Our bell is ringing in panel, and you know that means that time is up, and now it's time to vote for number 1, or for number 2, or for number 3. Kitty, who got your vote?
Well, I think number 1 has all those children. I don't think number 2 or 3 have all those children. And he looks very jolly. I'd like to be a big brother or sister with him.
All right, a vote for number 1. Nipsey, who did you vote for?
Well, there's a group in our studio audience here now from St. Bridges in Jersey City, and I was having a lot of fun with them just before our show started. So the enlightenment I got from number 2 to know that the celebrity can kind of fade into that nothingness and be a big brother is why I voted for him.
Okay, a vote for number 2. Polly, who
Well,
did you vote
number
for?
2 to me seemed to be the obvious one, but he offered so much information that I figured it probably wasn't him, because he knew too much. So I voted for number 1, because number 3 didn't know anything about the affiliation, which probably means it was him.
All right, there's a vote for number 1. And John Wade, who got your vote?
Well, it's kind of a combination of Kitty's and Polly's. Number 2 did give a lot of information, but number 1 just looks very, very friendly and warm and fatherly and paternal.
Number 2 looks cold and unfriendly and unfatherly.
He looks like a television executive.
No.
Should be a PR man.
Before we insult number 2 any further, let us now find out which of these gentlemen, in fact, is the biggest brother of all. Will the real David Ballman please stand up?
It's number 3.
That's it. Before we talk to David, let's find out who our imposters are. Number 1, you convinced 3 of our panelists that you were the real David Ballman. Would you tell us who you really are and what you do, please?
I'm really Paul McPherson, and I'm a vice president with the American Reinsurance Company.
Good to have you here. And number 2, could you...
I'm Jim Gamble. I'm a commercial airline pilot for Continental Airlines. Incidentally, Paul and I have agreed to donate this money to the Big Brothers.
Oh, that's very nice. Terrific. Very nice. Very nice. Now, David, this is an absolutely marvelous organization, and I'm just knocked out to have you on the show. You've taken 27 kids into your own home. You've adopted 7. Remarkable, man. You say there are 8 million kids out there coming from broken homes. How many big brothers or sisters are there?
We now have 130,000 actually matched and another 100,000 waiting for a volunteer to become available either as a big brother or a big sister. So we need all of you, and all of you make super big brothers or big sisters.
There were 4 incorrect votes. You have therefore won the jackpot, which will go to the Big Brother organization, according to you. And thanks for joining us on To Tell the Truth.
Thank you.
Now, we're coming back, so please stay tuned. BSN. Time to play one-on-one. Here are some people you have seen before. Now, panel, you see in front of you 4 dummies. And I'm not, of course, referring to our team of challengers here. These are people you have seen before. We've talked to them. We know a little bit about them. But one fact that has not been made clear to you is that one of these 4 people is the creator and manipulator of these. In fact, they're marionettes. They're not dummies. These charming marionettes. It's up to you to find out which person. And Kitty, if you're ready to question Terry, please start.
Thank you. Are you a professional marionette manipulator?
Yes, I am.
And you make your own puppets?
Yes, I do.
Do you work with anyone else?
I perform and make my own puppets totally by myself.
And do you hire yourself out to what kinds of organizations?
I've done Renaissance fairs. I've also done some television shows, carnivals, all
How
kinds
did you
of
learn
things.
how to do it?
Is Terry the brains behind George Washington here? Yes or no?
No.
That's a no for Terry. And John, if you're ready to question Kathy,
Yes.
please start.
Kathy, who's the greatest living puppeteer right now?
Greatest Jim Hensley is a good one.
Okay, did you train yourself?
Yes, I did.
Okay, how many different marionettes do you have?
I have approximately, well, in working order, about 8.
Okay, who makes them?
I do.
Okay, and
Does Kathy make and manipulate marionettes? Yes or
No.
no? That's a no for Kathy. And Polly, if you're ready to question Paul, start now.
Paul, how many parts do you have to move at once? with
Well,
a
there
normal-
could be as few as 10 and perhaps as many as 30. Strings, that is.
30 strings. How long does it take to learn how to operate a puppet?
Probably 15 years to do it well.
I see. There is a very famous, has been a very famous group before the Muppets and all that.
Is Paul a puppeteer? Yes or no?
No.
That's a no for Paul. Now, Nipsey, you're about to question Jim, and so far there have been no yes votes, but one of these people, in fact, is a puppeteer.
Aha.
Now, well, you've got 20 seconds to question Jim. You may cast your vote for Jim or for any of the other challengers after your 20 seconds. Please
Okay,
start.
Jim, who is Geppetto?
Geppetto was the father of Pinocchio.
I see. Do you have a clown in your repertoire?
Oh, yes.
Have you seen the puppeteer that works in Las Vegas that has the crown that has the little balloon that goes up and he cries
yes.
when it's gone? Now, do you manipulate?
Is Jim our puppeteer? Yes or no? If not, who would you vote for?
I don't think it's Jim. I think it's Terry.
Okay, that's a yes for Terry. And now the decisions have been made, and we're going to find out the truth and find out which of these people is, in fact, the creator and operator, if that's the word, of all these marionettes. Will the real puppeteer please stand up?
It was.
Nobody.
He is a
And he
manipulator.
gave me the right answer, too.
Jim, yeah, as John Wayne just said, Jim really is a manipulator in more ways than one. And Jim is going to be back in 2 minutes with Candy to demonstrate his art for us. Right now, there were 2 incorrect votes. You have won, therefore, $200. Thanks all for joining us on One on One. Jim, see you shortly. Thank you. We'll be back with Candy in just a moment, so stay tuned. Marionette Candy, take it away.
How do you pick your favorite game shows? Classic or crazy? Go to gsn.com to vote for your favorite game shows. Then tune into your picks on the Viewer's Choice Marathon, Friday, November 23rd, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m.